This verse gave me three things. The first thing is that the biggest reality of life is death. We keep it away, distant from our lives. But the truth is that the biggest reality of life is death, not that we were born by God's will. But no one has been born who can deny death. That's why I came. Surely we will return to our side. So the biggest reality of life is death, and after death, the final reckoning. The afterlife, this is the greatest truth. One true life, one truth that everyone accepts, everyone knows, and another truth is hidden under a veil. I voted with this belief. These words are in the Quran 3 times. Where death is known not that they are still alive. The funeral will be held, they will be buried beside the Prophet. They will also marry and have children. Devotion is such that I can reach from Kulu to today. Forgiveness and help are needed, such Wila Sir won't stay away from it. What is it? If the Prophet passed away, will they remain forever? Who in this world will remain forever? And before that, we will remain in the heavens through goodness by giving well-being, health, wealth, children, fame, and fame, and through evil by giving hardship. Then you will be returned to us. This is the second reality that I mentioned, which is revealed. People think that this worldly life is everything. God, the Quran says that the hereafter is the real life. If only people knew. I will hold on. Prophet, you will be given your full reward and recompense on the day of judgment. Whoever is saved from the fire and enter into paradise, they have truly succeeded. May Allah make us part of it. Allah is the greatest. And in the worldly life, when I reached around 60 years of age, I began waiting for many things. It was quite close. Now, I kept saying this, and also that your brother referring to himself has done his part. Whatever abilities Allah had given me and whatever strengths I had within me, I used them to the fullest. Thank you. Allah has built the mosque for 14 years. I say this in the Nafil prayer, that I always keep asking from Allah. According to our account, a laborer's life is 61 years. I heard about Allama Iqbal, who used to cry, fearing that his life might not exceed the Prophet's. He lived 6 months less than that. The same is true for Hazrat Umar and Hazrat Ali. MashaAllah. Sheikh Abdullah lived for 82 years. But I used to say that the famous lifespan is 61 years, which we call 63. But according to us, it's actually 61. That 63 is the solar year, which is 9 days less than the lunar year. At that time, I was content with it. But whatever time Allah has given, I am grateful, especially with everything. For the burden from Allah is upon everyone. A huge blessing has been bestowed upon many people. I in 1998. I went through a phase when I was in Karachi and had a major operation in March 1998. Both were transformed. But in 1981, it could have been done. The mosque in Karachi is on a higher floor, specifically built for that purpose. And I was taken there in a wheelchair. The echo of this stage's bouquet has been heard all over the world for a few years now. By Allah's grace, and there is some divine wisdom in it, tied to His will. None of my actions or efforts had any involvement in this. I have been giving it to you in portions since the 1980s. And since 1985, the echo of the Quran has been present. It is true that I felt that in 1998, I had repeated that phase which was specifically tied to my connection with the Quran. What is the outcome of all my discussions? Movements directly are not connected to that directly, right? There is someone who is its scholar, there is someone who documents it. But the ideology depends on how much destiny is written for a person by Allah. Whoever has their fate written by Allah will do their work and move on. This garden will remain as it is, and thousands will come and go, fulfilling that purpose. Blessed are those who are given the fortune to speak the language of the Quran. They have spoken the language of the Quran. And the Quran is as it is, just like that, in its true form. I think about my own limitations and reflect on the perspective. I have taught the Quran objectively so that people understand it through the Quran itself or through their connection with the Prophet. Instead of using Sunnah, I am using Seerah, life example of the Prophet. You see, this is also a reality for very few people. They mention the name of Hadith, but specifically I focus on Seerah rather than Sunnah or Hadith. The sources of the Quran are the Quran itself and the life Seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Inshallah, I will talk more about this later. The second thing I read today is that when you become wealthy, your pride increases. This is also a major reality of life. We tend to extend our lifespan, but it reduces our capabilities. The important thing is that old age will come. So a gentleman from Tonk, Ibrahim Sahab, recited a couplet to me. The wish has been fulfilled as life has diminished. And this plant of desires take its wood and prepare it for old age. Youth has faded away, not now. Have your desires trimmed down as you prepare for the future, not just a couple of days ago. The director of a company serving this special dish came here and recited a Persian couplet. It was a beautiful one. In my youth, I used to say that a lion is always a lion, even if he becomes old. What changes in him due to old age? A lion is always a lion. I have reached that stage. I said the common result of old age is physical weakness. Especially the pain that comes with it has affected me as well. I still have my old strength at times. But recent things, especially in the past 5 to 6 years, they keep slipping away. I've met Ashmakiak, recognized him by sight several times, but I can't recall his name. Particularly for many years now, my memory has been declining. I felt it. Especially during speeches. It feels like I experience a blackout. I had to think about reconnecting the thread of words. The words I've spoken thousands of times. No matter how hard I try now, I can't recall them. Yes, after a little while, before that, we used to take notes. There is no longer the same fluency in my speeches, the cross references that used to come to me. Because of which once Maulana Abdul Karim from Nagpur, India, associated with Maulana Ali Mian's families here. Right, the Quran, I went there and people were talking against me. So someone said, brother, why are you even talking about that person? In front of him, it feels as though the Quran is open and he can take from it whatever he wants. Flowers are blooming in every garden, but everyone holds their own basket. What are you even talking about? After that, they acknowledged that the expertise you had was indeed correct, the cross references would come naturally from the Quran. Anyway, blood pressure. It's praised IS ... there is a phase. Bipolar depression ... involves activity one thinks and runs around to activate the conversation, which makes one feel better. So this is called the bipolar problem. It has its waves. It's common for every person to say, my mood is off, brother. Don't talk to me ... but that be why Allah's grace, it is more correct than this wave goes higher. Goes higher, it shouldn't go too high. And we call it below roller coaster. It usually starts around the age of 50. When I turned around 50, I often felt that during my speeches I would get lost. Once in 1970, my memory completely faded for several hours. He couldn't express myself or articulate any words. There was no justice in anything. When I turned 50, I experienced a jolt. I was present but felt lost in my thoughts. So I mentioned to Rashid Chaudhry Sahab, who was my father's friend, that I had entered a danger zone. And he said, no, you won't experience that because you are serving the book of Allah. So his words gave me a bonus of 20 years. I was so overwhelmed that I just sat down.